In a town of just 87 people, there exists a law no outsider has ever understood. A law written in 1891 and followed with a fear so deep, the people of Hollow Creek refuse to speak of it, even today. I went there expecting another forgotten American settlement, one of those small towns slowly fading off the map. What I found instead was a community living under a rule born from a night they call the walking hour. The road into Hollow Creek narrowed, as if the forest itself wanted to keep visitors away. My GPS lost signal miles before I saw the wooden sign leaning at the tree line. Welcome to Hollow Creek, population 87. Mounted beneath it was a cold metal plate. Town Ordinance 12B. After sunset, no outsider may remain outdoors. There was no explanation, no warning, just the law, staring back like an unspoken threat. Inside the town, the silence felt wrong. There were no children playing, no dogs barking, no casual conversations. When I lifted my camera, a woman hurried out of a small diner and whispered urgently, "Put that down, and leave before dark or they'll notice you." I asked who they were, but she only turned away, refusing to answer. At the old courthouse, buried in dust, I found a ledger from 1891. That was when Ordinance 12B first appeared. It read, "Because of the events of October 29, 1891, no outsider shall remain outdoors after dusk." The page explaining the event had been torn out. By the time the sun began to set, every door slammed shut, curtains dropped, a red light glowed in every window, as if the entire town was bracing for something that moved only in the dark. The diner woman dragged me inside. "Don't speak," she whispered. "If they think the house is empty, we survive." Then came the footsteps, slow, dragging, like something heavy being pulled across dead leaves. Through a crack in the curtain, I saw it. Something shaped like a person, but bent, broken, the limbs too long, the body twisted, as if its bones had learned a different arrangement. Its eyes were hollow, and across its chest ran root-like scars, dark and deep. "They walk every night," the woman breathed, "ever since Elias Crawford angered the ground beneath Hollow Ridge." She told me the story. In 1891, Hollow Creek was a logging town. Crawford, the town's founder, forced workers to cut trees on a forbidden ridge. Local legends warned that the dead were bound inside those trees, suspended in roots instead of buried underground. 7 workers went missing there. When they returned, they were alive, but wrong, hollow, changed. On October 29, 1891, they walked into town. Not alive, not dead, just angry. And Hollow Creek never forgot. By the dawn, the figures were gone. An old man approached me as the town awakened and said, "You survived the night. Most outsiders don't." When I left, my GPS labeled the area as Unlisted Restricted Zone, as though Hollow Creek wasn't meant to exist. Reviewing the audio later, I found a whisper, one I hadn't heard in person. "You shouldn't have filmed us."
For 3 days after leaving Hollow Creek, I barely slept. Every time I reviewed my footage, that whisper crawled through my headphones. Not a glitch. Its waveform was too precise, too deliberate. But the real obsession was Hollow Ridge, the place where the curse began. If the town was the symptom, Hollow Ridge was the source. The ridge isn't shown on any official map. County records listed as access prohibited, geological instability. Satellite images blur the entire area, as if someone or something doesn't want it seen. I hiked in alone. At the entrance to the woods stood a weathered sign, No trespassing, by order of Elias Crawford. Crawford died in 1893, yet the sign looked recently placed. Inside the forest, the silence was unnatural. No birds, no wind, no insects. The air felt thick, like something below the soil was breathing. Eventually, the trees opened into a perfectly circular clearing. The ground was blackened, but not burned. In the center lay a cracked stone slab engraved with the words, "Bound below, do not wake." Nearby, buried beneath loose earth, I found a metal lockbox. Inside were pages labeled Journal of Elias Crawford, 1891. His writing revealed everything. He had ordered workers to cut trees that formed an ancient burial ground, one where bodies were not laid in soil, but woven into the roots of living trees. The people believed the roots kept the souls from wandering. Crawford wrote, "I cut those trees. I severed the roots that held them, and now the ones bound inside them walk again. They seek what they lost, bodies." As I read, the ground shuddered. The roots in the clearing moved, slowly, like waking muscles. A deep, collective inhalation arose from the earth. Then a whisper, "You came back." Shadows stretched toward me as the trees seemed to lean in. I ran, but the forest path twisted unnaturally, as if the woods themselves were shifting to keep me inside. When I finally reached the road, several townspeople stood with lanterns. Their faces were white with fear. "Don't look back," they shouted. "Run!" I listened. But even without turning, I heard it, the sound of many feet climbing out of the forest, not walking, rising. Back in town, an elderly man said only, "You stepped on their ground. Now they know you." I asked him what they wanted. He answered, "Bodies." Later, reviewing my footage, I saw that everything I recorded at the clearing was corrupted, static, distorted, except for the file name, which had changed on its own. It now read, "Awakened." And when I played it, the only audible sound was a low voice saying, "We know you."